Hello and welcome back to the Eleshia Show. I'm your host, Eleshia, and I am so excited that we are going to be talking all about your business over the summer. So, summer business tips. That's what I think I'm going to call this episode, because if you're like me and you have a family and you are constantly juggling family business and your own lifestyle and your own health, then this conversation is for you. So if you know anybody else who may benefit from listening to this episode, please go ahead and share this episode. And also remember that we are now doing visuals. So you can find this episode on YouTube, and I'll be doing something to the background soon. At the moment, I am in the process of doing some renovations. I've just had new flooring put down, and so I am still continuing to do that, but I still wanted to be here. It's all about being consistent. So here I am. So if you've been listening to the Eleshia Show for quite some time, you know that I have purposely built my business and my branding around my baby girl and my family. I'm also a carer to my brother who's on the autism spectrum. And for the last 8 years, I have been juggling being his carer, but also looking after myself after my mum sadly passed away from multiple myeloma, a rare blood cancer, and also ensuring that I was okay. And then going through my own journey of trying to have a child, coming up against fertility issues, and then deciding to leave the corporate world to make space for the baby that I wanted. And then once I did become pregnant, thank goodness, I am very fortunate. And so before I even go any further, I just want to say to those of you who are on your own fertility journeys, I'm here for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. If you just want somebody to talk to, please reach out to me. And just know that I've done many conversations on the podcast about my journey and also the things that I did to help my fertility journey on its way. So that's something that you're interested in learning a little bit more about, then I will make sure that I link in those episodes into the show notes as well. So just know that you're not alone on this journey, and I am here to help in any way that I possibly can. So this year is a really important year in our household because my brother is turning 30 and my daughter is going to big school. And so it is a little bit crazy right now because it's hard. Let me just take a moment to really lean into how hard it is to have a 4-year-old who is finding herself, who is pushing boundaries, who is learning to be herself in this life. And then I'm having to be a carer for a young man who's in his 30s, but isn't able to fully take care of himself. And so there's a constant battle there as to how much independence I give him to how I try and take care of him to ensure that he is still safe. I am constantly in that space of push and pull where I really want to be able to let go some of the reins. And I hate saying it that way, but I want to let go of being so protective. However, I also know the world that we live in. And so that is really difficult because sometimes it's not him, it's the other people around us. When you look at my brother, at first glance, he's a 30-year-old Black guy until you really start to see some of his traits. And then you start to recognize that he has special needs. And so I'm telling you, it can be really hard sometimes. And then layer on the business as well. But saying that, I don't think I could have had it any other way. I think it would have been near impossible for me to have a full-time job, to have a full-time role working for somebody else, and then having to take care of my daughter and my brother, and all hats to you all that may be in that particular situation where you have no choice, you have to. But I just know from my own mental health and capacity that it would have been a total struggle for me. I remember when I was looking after my mum, and I was also looking after Jordan when she was ill and still working, that really did take its toll. So I had made a decision that when I had Alessandra, that I would work part-time for the first 4 years of her life, because that's what I saw my mum do. And her not being here really cemented in me that that's what I wanted to do for my daughter. I wanted to make sure that I was around when she needed, and that I was able to participate in activities and see her firsts. And so that was really important for me once I had made a decision that I was going to be a mum. And so I have come to the end of that time period, and she is going to big school in September. And again, that was a hard decision to make because of so many factors, right? From the color of her skin to how far some of these schools were, to how diverse the schools were. And so that was a very, very hard time of my life. And now looking back at it, I recognized that was one of the reasons why I possibly got the all body skin rash, and why I wasn't very well, because I was really invested in trying to find her the right kind of setting. And now I'm happy with the school that she's going to, and things can change. And so we'll see if she settles in well. But I really, really feel that we've made a good decision and that she'll be happy. And that was really important to me, because I've heard that some schools and some nurseries have not been the right settings for children, especially children of color. And that is really important to me. I want my child to know how important she is in this world as well. And I'm very excited for her to go on her own exploratory journey of the world with the nurturing of her dad and I. And so I'm very, very happy about that. And so whilst I have been going through all of the feels and all of the motions about both of them coming of age, because you have to really know this. Like, I am Jordan's sister, but I am also kind of like his sister mum. He was born when I was 14 years old. So I have always, always been like his second mum. And so ultimately, when my mum passed away, I stepped up into that role of making sure that he was okay. So seeing them both have these life-changing moments is really exciting to me, but it's also very, very nerve-wracking. And then later on, ensuring that my business is doing well. I want to ensure that I am still continuing to grow the business. However, I know in the summertime, it's harder to have your finger on the pulse. And so here are my tips to ensure that you can still put the time and effort that you want into your business, but you also get the time to spend with yourself and your family without feeling so guilty. And so before I even jump into it, that's a good topic to discuss, is the guilt of having to work and not being able to be in two places at the same time. And I'm here to say to you, like, don't feel guilty, because you are one of the reasons why your family gets to do some of those amazing things, right? You're expanding your business and your revenue to ensure that you're taking care of, one, but also to make sure that your family is taken care of as well. So sometimes I don't feel guilty about having to work. because before my daughter was born, that's who I was. I was Eleshia who loved to work. I loved what it represented. I love the fact that it gave me my independence. And I also love that it showed growth in who I was as well. I love to learn. I love a challenge and I love to achieve. And so all of those things were super important to me. Now my money goes on my daughter a lot. However, I still love that element of working. I love working with my client. You hear me rave about that all the time. And so I don't feel guilty about having to work because I spend a lot of time with her. She is able to do more things because mummy and daddy both work. And so we have a little bit more surplus funds to be able to do the things that she wants to do. And also, it makes me a happier being. I am not built just to be a housewife. As much as sometimes I daydream about having full staff and having all of this time on my hands, I don't think I am built to be a stay-at-home mum. And again, this is not a dig at stay-at-home mums at all. I'm just saying from my perspective, that's not who I am. I really, really, really do enjoy having the best of both worlds. So with that said, these are some of the things that I'm going to be making sure that I am 100% grounded in and I try to stick to over the next 6 weeks or so. Okay, let's go. So, I love a plan. And I'm sorry, I have to start here. I sat down and I mapped out my July and my August. And I did that from a business perspective and I did that from a family activity perspective because it was taking up far too much space in my brain and it felt like I was going to explode. And so a couple of weeks ago, I just mapped everything out because I'd already had things booked in the diary for the future. However, I couldn't see that. And I'm a very visual person. And so having it in my diary is amazing. But then I need to see it visually because then, one, I then know that I can't overbook myself because I can see what is coming up. And two, it stops me from feeling overwhelmed and procrastinating about what I have to do in the time period that I've got. So number one, planning and prioritizing is key for me because I want to make sure that I get everything that is important done on my to-do list. But then I also want to make sure that I spend quality time with family and friends and clients and community. I want to make sure that I can do all of that without feeling any ounce of guilt. And then two, I am delegating more than I have ever done over the next 6 weeks to ensure that, again, I'm not being a bottleneck in my business. I want to make sure that my business can function without me. I've spoken a lot about that, but I'm also making sure that everybody gets involved from a family perspective to ensure that everyone knows what they need to do to make sure that we can spend time together. Because I'm not working within my business, I then don't want to then turn into the fairy godmother at home that picks up after everybody and cooks and cleans and so that everybody else can be having a great summer and I am left ragged at the door in September. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to change places. I'm trying to ensure that the house is clean and we are fed and watered and the business is still continuing to run and we are having fun. That is what I'm doing. So for me, I am going to be doing reduced hours over the summer to ensure that the time that I have is sacred with the family. And so I am putting clear boundaries around that and making sure that on my out of office, people know that I'm doing reduced hours and that I'll probably won't get back in touch with them in 24 hours. Maybe I'll get in touch with them in 48 hours or 72 hours. I am making sure that I take 2 weeks off solid because again, we need to do this. We need to ensure that we have some time away from our computers and our full-time work, although a lot of us have 2 full-time jobs, but from the business, because this is again where you get clarity once you're rested and you're restored, then you can come back and you can really have clarity into the things that you want to move forward when you get back from work. And I think I learned this when I was contracting. They always made us take, no matter what, over the summer period, they made sure that we took 2 weeks off consecutively to ensure that, one, the business could run without us, and two, that we were rested and restored to come back to work in the last quarter. And so I've really, really learned that this is good for me as well. And so that's what I'll be doing. I'll be making sure that in August, I take off the last 2 weeks. And then number 3, be realistic with your expectations. Like, don't try and launch something new over the summer period, because one, a lot of people are going to be away anyway, but also that's going to take up a lot of your energy and a lot of your resources as well. So for me, I'm making sure that over the summer period, I look at how I can be visible, how I can reconnect with people, how I can connect with people if there are any networking events in the evenings or the daytimes where I am working that I can attend. I'm doing all of those things because those things also light me up. One of my key strengths is relationship building, and I love that. I love being intentional with people. I love connecting with people on a one-on-one basis or in small groups or even in large groups. But that's what I want to really focus on over the summertime, is just really connecting with people, seeing what people have been up to, seeing how we can maybe collaborate together, or we can leverage our experiences with each other for the fall. And so that's going to be really, really key for me. We've discussed automating already and batching. I'm going to be ensuring that for the month of August, a lot of the things that I usually tend to do, like podcast recording and podcast editing, I want to make sure that a lot of that is complete by the beginning of the month, to ensure that when I am on my hollybobs, I don't have to think about anything. Everything is batched and automated to go. And yes, I like to show up in real time, but there are times when you need to do this. You need to do this because, again, I've been burnt out and it is real and I don't want to be there again. Tip 4, taking care of me. So I am making sure that I do things that really take care of me. Walks, meditation, sleeping in when I can, hydration, food, exercise, supplements, facials if I can, massages, just doing things for me. Also making sure that I've got some things that I, just me, can look forward to, because again, it can be so intense where you feel like you don't have time to do anything. So I'm here to say to you, please, 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 if you've got a morning routine, if there's something that you usually do in the morning to really just ground yourself, continue doing that. Don't let it slip. So for me, even if it is 5 minutes, I like to take 5 minutes just to do a meditation. And now my daughter knows that this is mummy's time. And so I will continue to do that, to deep breathe, to really consider what needs to be done for the day, and to then move into a day of flow. She also knows that I like to work out. She's been seeing me do that since she was little. And so she knows that's key for me to be the best human that I can be. We've now got into doing yoga poses together, and she is really good at ballet and she's enjoying ballet. So I'm getting to teach her a few moves as well. But it also means that I can get to integrate some exercise in there with her as well. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm also going to stick to my morning pages, because the overwhelm can really set in the middle of the night, especially if you're midlife, like myself, where your mind just switches on in the middle of the night and you're like, I've got to do this, this, and 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 all of these things. And so I'm making sure that I take my supplements for that to try and get good night's sleep. But also I'm doing morning pages in the morning to declutter my mind. If you haven't heard about morning pages, it's a concept that was founded by Julia Cameron, who wrote The Artist's Way, and I swear by it. And it just helps you to get all of that mind funk out of your brain and on paper. And then you don't have to even read it again. It's not about making a list. It's just getting everything that's out onto paper and then moving on with your day. So that's something that I will be doing. So tip number 5, in the time that I have to work for myself, to work on the business, I'm going to be working in time blocks. So I'm going to be ensuring that I do my task list in that particular time that I have set out. You know me, I love to work in time blocks because it means that I can be super focused, and everyone knows that Mummy or Eleshia is doing her focus time and I can get through my list. So I'm going to continue to do that because it really, really, really helps. Taking breaks, making sure that even when I'm doing my blocked times, I like to work in palms. So I do either 25 minutes or 45 minutes with a break in between. I'm making sure that I'm moving my body, love a dance party, especially after doing the silent retreat. If you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to that episode with Dara and I. Music and dance has just really opened up my body and my mindset so much that it's become really transformative, and I love doing it in the morning. Like before, I used to have dance parties, but now taking up as much space as I can has been super, super important to me. So that's what I'm going to do also. Tip number 6 is I will be seeking support from others. So others such as family and friends where possible, and also from other entrepreneurs and other parents who may be having similar challenges. And I think that's one of the things that I'm really sad about, is that her nursery has been so amazing, and it's been like a community that I just really, really hope that we find that within her school as well, because I think that's really important and it's really helped her to grow. But it's also made me so happy, and it's made me feel very, very at ease that she has been so loved and cared for in the environment that she has been in. And so Mummy is hoping for that in our next school. Tip number 7, I'm going to be flexible. If things don't happen, they don't happen. And I'm going to be okay with that, because you don't get this time back. And that's another thing that these last couple of years have really shown me. And that's why I feel so fortunate that I've been able to have this time with my family and my loved ones. And although we've lost some people, it's just really showed me that we don't get this time back. So what will be, will be. I'm going to be really flexible. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm just super, super excited. One, that I'm healthy and I'm here, but also that I get to spend this time with my family and I'm not having to worry so much about juggling them both because of the way that I have built my business. And so I've always said, and I will continue to say, it was really important for me to have white space in my diary to ensure that if things don't go according to plan, that I've got some time to maybe catch up. I'm a really big believer in you are in life where you need to be. And sometimes that means that you have to take your foot off the gas. And I've really, really recognized that. And I've shared that so much, where I've been stop starting in elements of my business and my life because we've had something else happen, or we've had another death, or I've not been well, or I've had to spend more time caring for Jordan, or I've had to take time out to look after my daughter. And so in this place of ease and flow and just trusting that the universe has my back and I'll get what I need and what I want and what I desire. And I'll have those times where I can go really, really super quick. And I'll have those times when I have to ease back. I'm just going to enjoy the summer. I'm going to make sure that there is time to recharge my batteries, because again, pouring from an empty cup is not in my vocabulary anymore, especially as that's the experience that I've had previously. And that's one of the reasons why my lifestyle brand is so important to me, is because your well-being is important to me first. And so enjoying laughter, enjoying times with friends, enjoying walks, enjoying Netflix, enjoying reading that book that's been on your shelf for so long. Do all of these things make memories. It's not just all about business. Make the memories that you can, because tomorrow's not promised. And so I really, really hope that these tips have really helped you to consider the things that you want to do to build your business around the summer holidays with the kids without burning out. Remember, it's all about finding that balance, embracing the joy of being in parenthood, but also nurturing yourself and nurturing your business as well, that entrepreneurial spirit. That's really important too. And so thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode all about summer business tips. I'm wishing you a successful summer. Send me some love. There's going to be lots and lots of tears. I'm in the realization that I'm a baby girl. And someone said to me the other day, she's not your baby girl anymore, but that's just an expression of my love for her. But my little girl is not so little anymore. And I think when I started this podcast, she was just 2. And now she's going to big school and she'll be 5 soon. And so, yeah, I'm just choosing to really stay in the present and really cherish these real precious moments. And I hope you are too. So, although I am slowing down for the summer, I am still super invested in hearing about the projects that you may be thinking about doing in the last quarter of the year. So please reach out. Like I said, this is the time for me to start to make new connections, start to network with new people and see if we are aligned to work with each other. And so I will also make sure that I have my contact details in the show notes. And remember, you can always book a call for us just to chat over a green juice, over a coffee, pick your favorite beverage. And I cannot wait to really, really get to meet some of you in person. So look out over the next coming weeks to hear about what I have in store for you. Okay, so take care for now. And remember, you are the biggest investment. Make sure that you're looking after yourself because no one else will. And you are very important. Take care for now. See you next week. Bye-bye.